It was the 7th year of chasing Khloe Morgan, and just like that, the obsession died. We've been officially dating for less than a week when she said it. Maybe we should just call it quits. You shouldn't put all your eggs in my basket. You should get out there, meet other people. I looked down, then nodded. Okay. After the breakup, Khloe's life went on, as vibrant and effortless as ever. At first, she never brought me up. Then, she started acting restless. By the time she showed up crying at my apartment building, it was too late. I was busy comforting an angry Claire Sutton. Claire was wearing my button-down shirt, her arms wrapped possessively around mine. She bit my jaw, her voice tight with annoyance. Is she one of your girlfriends, too? The moment I got back to my table from the restroom, I saw Khloe asking a handsome guy at the next table for his number. She had on her cutest expression, cheeks flushed, the picture of a girl who'd just been struck by Cupid's arrow. In that instant, something inside me finally let go. She could turn on the charm for any guy, so easily, and I was the most disposable one of all. Ethan, Khloe said, setting down her compact mirror to look at me. Honestly, the only reason I said yes the other day was because I felt bad for you. I try to like you, I really did, she continued, but it's just not there. She took a deep breath, her delicate hand gently covering the back of mine. The gesture was soft, practiced, and last time, when I kissed you, I was drunk. It was an accident. I pulled my hand away. Khloe, what are you trying to say? She propped her chin on her hands, a sly smile playing on her lips. Let's just go back to being friends. It's more comfortable for both of us that way, don't you think? I looked into her unreadable eyes and nodded. Let's just finish dinner. She frowned, looking like she was barely managing to agree. Fine. The rest of the meal was tense. For me, because the person I'd chased for 7 years had finally agreed to be with me last week, only to dump me 7 days later. For her, because her mind was clearly anywhere but here. Every second that ticked by, she was zoning out, shooting flirtatious glances at the guy at the next table one moment, checking her phone for messages the next. I suddenly thought of the thousands of texts I'd sent her over the years, and the handful of replies I'd gotten back. It was so blindingly obvious when someone wasn't into you. The second dinner was over. She was on her feet. I'm out of here. I stood up to, wait. She stopped, turning to look at me with a flicker of curiosity. I walked over until I was standing right in front of her, my gaze level. Khloe, from this day on, I'm never going to contact you again. She let out a short, sharp laugh. Ethan, I never forced you to text me, or wait for me, or chase me. She was right. It had always been a one-man show. My own hopeless crusade. In the past, whenever she was flirting with someone else, I'd just quietly back off. But the second she was bored and wanted a distraction, I was always there. I was like her shadow, trailing her year after year. Even my friends couldn't watch it anymore. Dude, are you happy being her backup plan? She doesn't like you, man. She's playing you. Ethan, you're an idiot. You're hung up on someone who couldn't care less. No matter what anyone said, I was hopelessly devoted, never once thinking of leaving. Which is why now, when I told her I was finally giving up, she just looked bored like it was a trivial little thing. Khloe smiled at me. Ethan, honey, it's what she called me when we were just friends, her voice always dripping with manufactured sweetness. It's about time, she said, always following me around. It was kind of creepy, you know? Anyone who didn't know better would think you were a stalker. She laughed, a playful glint in her eyes. Maybe we should just call it quits, she repeated. You shouldn't put all your eggs in my basket. You should get out there, meet other people. I thought about every word she'd said, and finally, I smiled and nodded. Okay. She seemed surprised by how easily I agreed. After a second of stunned silence, she said coolly, good luck with that. Khloe had a new boyfriend in no time. They were all over each other, moving at lightning speed. Within a week, he'd moved into her apartment. My friends couldn't stand it. Khloe's ruthless. On to the next one, without a backward glance. And you wasted so many years on her, Ethan. It's okay to be sad, bro. Let it out. Don't worry about it. Khloe's always like this. She's just having fun. When she gets bored, you'll still have a chance. Yeah, totally. You guys could get back together. I just waved my hand. It's not going to happen. My friends clapped me on the shoulder, their eyes full of pity. One day, I had to stop by her apartment. The guy who answered the door was her new boyfriend, the same handsome guy from the restaurant. He was still half asleep. Who are you looking for? Is Khloe here? I need to get something back from her. What is it? A necklace. I'll go look for it. It's gone. Khloe's voice drifted from inside. She walked out wearing a silk slip dress, looking just as sleepy as he did. The guy went to her, wrapping an arm around her waist and planting a few kisses on her forehead. You don't ask for gifts back, Khloe said, raising a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. Where'd it go? I can look. I forgot, she said dismissively. The cleaning lady probably tossed it out with the trash. If you really want, I could buy you a new one. I looked at the two of them, stuck together like glue, Khloe with a smug, satisfied smirk on her face. Never mind. I don't want it anymore. I turned to leave. Ethan, she called out suddenly. My footsteps faltered for a fraction of a second, but I didn't stop, and I didn't look back. The first month after the breakup, I threw myself into work. Even with my schedule packed to the gills, the quiet moments still felt heavy. The second month, my friends dragged me out for drinks. They introduced me to a few girls, and on the dance floor, the easy touch of a stranger was a release. I let go of my frustrations, and for the first time in a while, I relaxed. A friend was snapping pictures of me dancing with a girl on his phone. A minute later, he was blasting them into our group chats. Hot single Ethan Hayes is back on the market. Ladies, he typed, before gleefully rejoining the fray, completely ignoring the explosion of notifications. A little while later, a ripple of excitement went through the crowd. My friends next to me started freaking out. Holy crap, look who just walked in. A total goddess. Those legs, that body, that face. She's unreal. I followed their gaze. Through the strobing lights and haze, a woman in a white dress was walking toward us, her long hair flowing as she navigated the floor in a pair of sharp heels. I couldn't see her face clearly, but her whole vibe, elegant and pure, was completely at odds with the grimy bar. No way. Is that Claire Sutton? The superstar lawyer? I laughed. Not a chance. What would a powerhouse like her be doing in a dive bar like this? I turned to grab my drink, but the next second, a cool, slender hand intercepted it. She tilted her head back and downed the rest of my gin. Ethan. My head was spinning. The alcohol was hitting me hard. My eyes felt her hand. The skin was pale and smooth, the knuckles fine and delicate. It was a beautiful hand. An expensive-looking bracelet was clasped around her wrist. As my gaze traveled up, I saw her face, and it was stunning enough to silence a room. I was completely dumbstruck. Claire, come with me. Her expression was neutral, but her voice was laced with anger. Before I could react, she grabbed me by the collar and started pulling me toward the exit. I shot a desperate look at my friends, but they were all just watching the drama unfold, grins on their faces. Not a single one of them made a move to save me. Claire dragged me into an empty stairwell. I was stumbling, completely unsteady on my feet, and she shoved me against the wall. Ethan. She stood on her tiptoes, and before I knew what was happening, her lips were on my jaw. Oomph. Back on the market, huh, Mr. Hayes? Well, how do I look? Alcohol is a terrible thing. It strips away all reason. All I knew was the soft pressure on my jaw, and I wanted more. I cupped her face in my hands and deepened the kiss, pulling her into me. I didn't let go until she was limp in my arms. You, what about me? I looked down at her, wiping a smudge of lipstick from the corner of her mouth. We don't know each other, do we? Fine. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Claire Sutton. I'm a lawyer. Oh, I'm Ethan Hayes. I run a small startup. I know. She knew. She knew who I was. My head was foggy. The only reason I even recognized her was from seeing her on the news. The youngest, most brilliant lawyer in the city, undefeated in court. That was a little impulsive, don't you think? I managed. What's wrong with a little youthful impulse? I sighed. Claire, Seeing me hesitate, her expression crumpled. Her eyes welled up. Ethan, you heartbreaker. You kiss me, and then you're just going to leave. My eyes widened in disbelief. What was happening? She was acting like a petulant little kitten. Claire smiled. Ethan, she wrapped her arms around my neck. I know all about you. Since you're ready for a fresh start, what's the harm in trying with me? My face was burning. She was right. I was supposed to be starting over. Instead of searching around, why not with her? A woman like this was completely out of my league. She was the one taking the bigger risk here. So, we give it a try. A huge, happy grin spread across her face. She leaned up and kissed the tip of my nose. Let's give it a try. Somehow, the news that I was getting drunk in bars got back to Khloe. Someone teased her about it. I saw Ethan at Six Flags the other day with his new girlfriend. What girlfriend? Just some girl he met at a bar. Probably just another fling. Yeah, you know Ethan. He only has eyes for Khloe. No way he's serious with someone else. Khloe laughed, a dismissive, airy sound. Oh, him. He's just stubborn. He's been chasing me for 7 years. You all know that. Still, it's weird he hasn't hit you up in a month or two. You think he's actually hurt this time? He's always like this, she said. He knows to keep his distance when I'm seeing someone else. As she said it, a wave of irritation washed over her. It had been almost 2 weeks since she'd broken up with that guy, and there hadn't been a peep from Ethan. Last night, she had even posted an Instagram story hinting she was single again. Ethan hadn't even liked it. We haven't all hung out in a while. Should we call Ethan and get him to come over? One of her friends asked, glancing at Khloe tentatively. Sure enough, a small smile touched Khloe's lips. Sure, I'm curious to see what this new girlfriend of his looks like. Wouldn't want him to get scammed by some gold digger. Her friend sent a few texts, but they went unanswered. And he tried calling a few times, but it just rang and rang. This time of night, you think he's with his girlfriend? The faint smile on Khloe's face instantly vanished. She grabbed her phone and quickly typed in a number. The moment she hit dial, she was surprised at herself. She knew Ethan's number by heart. Seconds ticked by. Still no answer. Annoyed, Khloe was about to hang up when someone finally picked up. Hello? Who is this? A man's voice asked. He was breathing heavily, his voice deep and raspy, with an unmistakably sexy edge to it. It was hard not to let your imagination run wild. Khloe froze. Ethan, what are you doing? I glanced over my shoulder at the girl on my back. Can you get down for a second? I whispered. Claire didn't say a word, just tightened her slender arms around my neck. I'm staying right here. Her posture screamed. She was adorable, like a little cat. In my mind, Claire Sutton had always been the cool, brilliant lawyer, never this playful or clingy. But it seemed, being in a relationship brought out a different side of her. I sighed and unlocked the front door. The electronic beep carried through the phone, and Khloe heard it. She finally relaxed, her tone softening. Did you just get home? Yeah, I said, juggling the phone while putting the groceries I just bought into the fridge. Did you need something? I was just worried you'd get taken advantage of by some trashy girl from a bar. I wanted to warn you. Okay, anything else? I didn't want to drag this out. It felt pointless. But her voice on the other end was suddenly sharp with anger. Ethan, you're such an idiot. Click. She hung up on me. I stared at my phone for a second. Right? In Khloe's world, I was good for one thing and one thing only. Chasing her. But none of that mattered anymore. The past was the past. You have to keep moving forward. Claire hopped off my back and tossed my phone onto the counter. I grabbed a pink towel from the rack. It just started raining. Dry your hair before you catch a cold. But she didn't take it. She just stood there, smiling at me. After a long moment, she spoke, her voice serious. Ethan, I don't want something someone else has used. It finally clicked. My jealous little kitten. You're overthinking things, I said, taking the towel and starting to dry her long hair for her. It's a new towel. No one's ever used it. Under the towel, I saw her smile secretly. Once she was dry, I went to the kitchen to start on dinner. Claire picked up a photo album from the coffee table and started flipping through it. I frowned slightly. Actually, can you help me toss that? Why? No reason. I just don't want to look at it anymore. Oh, most of the pictures were from high school. There were a lot of them, and most of them featured Khloe. She was short, with a bit of baby fat that made her look cute and bubbly. Her smile was sweet. I was a full head taller than her, always having to stoop down for pictures. Claire didn't say anything else, just started pulling the photos out one by one. She only left a single picture untouched. Why aren't you throwing that one out? I asked, curious. I leaned in for a closer look and realized it was a photo from a basketball game. Khloe wasn't in it. A friend had snapped a picture of me playing. And there, in the corner of the court, was Claire, dressed in a school uniform, quietly walking by with a book in her hands. A jolt went through me. Claire and I went to the same high school. Memories flooded back. That stunningly beautiful, notoriously aloof girl everyone knew, but no one could get close to. That was Claire. The coincidence was unbelievable. I took the photo from her, staring at it. You went to Northwood High with me. Claire just sat there, watching me without a word. Wow, I murmured, still looking at the picture. Your eyes are bigger now. Your skin's even paler. How did you get more and more beautiful? Before I could finish, Claire threw her arms around me. Ethan, her eyes were shimmering as she looked up at me, full of emotion. She tilted her head and kissed my jaw again. Her lips moved slowly upward, and when they reached mine, she bit down gently. Her breathing grew frantic, and she pressed herself completely into my arms. Claire, I could tell something was wrong. I tried to pull away, but she just buried her face in my neck. Don't move. WH. What's wrong? If you move again, I'm not leaving tonight. She bit my shoulder, gently this time. A single warm tear rolled down her cheek and onto my skin. My heart clenched. I desperately wanted to know what was wrong. But Claire just held me tighter. I didn't understand why she was acting this way, but I could feel a deep sadness coming from her. Don't cry. I stroked her back, patting it gently. She stiffened for a second, then gradually calmed down. Finally, she pulled back her big, wet eyes staring into mine. Yeah, I'm so happy. She was smiling again, her eyes curving into bright, beautiful crescents. You have no idea how happy I am to be with you. That night, after I took Claire home, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't believe we were alumni. High school held memories I couldn't erase, and it was the reason I'd chased Khloe for 7 years. My senior year, A few jerks like to bully other students. I stood up to them, and they held a grudge. One day after school, they locked me in a storage closet. What they didn't know was that I have severe claustrophobia. But that night, I wasn't alone. Khloe was locked in there with me. She kept talking to me, calming me down, until I woke up the next day in the nurse's office. Khloe's face was etched with worry. Ethan, you're finally awake. A teenage crush can happen in an instant, but it had a hold on me for 7 years. And now, I'd finally let it go. It wasn't her fault, and it wasn't mine. I had just misunderstood the boundaries of friendship. Khloe was bubbly and cute, like a little ball of sunshine. She was a warm person. She just didn't like me. That's all it was. No one was wrong. But just because she didn't like me, did that mean she'd just forget? That necklace. She'd given it to me as a gift that day we were locked in the closet. A few days later, a text from Khloe popped up on my phone. Found the necklace. You can come get it. Attached was a photo of the shimmering chain. Don't want it, I replied. If it's in your way, just toss it. Her reply was almost instant. Then I'm tossing it. I put my phone down and didn't text back. A moment later, Claire called. Mr. Hayes, would you do me the honor of joining me for dinner tonight? I couldn't help but smile. Of course. What are you in a mood for? Let me think. How about a home-cooked meal by Chef Sutton? I paused. Chef Sutton? I could hear her bright, bell-like laughter on the other end. I'll send you the address. Come to my place tonight. Her voice was brimming with excitement and happiness. But that night, I stood her up. As I was leaving the office at dusk, a friend called. Ethan, where are you? At the office. What's up? His voice was urgent. You need to get over here. Khloe's dad was in a car accident. It's bad. I froze, a sour feeling rising in my chest. Even though Khloe didn't like me, her dad had always been kind to me. Back in high school, he knew my parents worked late, and he'd often invite me over for dinner. Ethan, are you listening? Yeah, I'm on my way. When I got to the hospital, Khloe was waiting outside the ICU, her face pale and drawn. How's Mr. Morgan? I asked, my own heart pounding. They're operating. The doctor said it's a good thing he was brought in so quickly. I nodded and moved to the side, not saying another word. The whole time, Khloe didn't look at me once, and I didn't say anything to her. 3 hours later, the doors to the operating room finally opened. The surgery was a success. He was okay. Everyone let out a collective sigh of relief. By now, the sky was completely dark. It was only then that I remembered Claire, waiting for me at her apartment. I quickly pulled out my phone. I had a dozen missed calls, all from her. I immediately called back. She picked up on the first ring. Where are you? What happened? Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm at the hospital. A friend had emergency, so... You scare me to death. I thought something had happened to you. So, are you? Before Claire could finish, Khloe's cool voice cut in from beside me. Ethan, honey, Dad's awake. Let's go see him. I nodded. Okay. Khloe patted my shoulder. Hurry up. I'll wait for you. I quickly stepped away, breaking the contact. Khloe's smile faltered for a second, her eyes dropping. When I looked back at my phone, I realized Claire had already hung up. At that moment, my heart started to pound erratically, a wave of anxiety washing over me. All I could see was the image of Claire crying in my arms the other night. A lump formed in my throat, and a sharp pain pierced my chest. Ethan, let's go. Mr. Morgan needs his rest, a friend urged. I had to swallow my emotions. Coming. In the hospital room, Mr. Morgan looked incredibly frail. Khloe sat by his bed, her expression pained. When he saw me, his eyes flickered, and I rushed over. Ethan, you came too? I nodded. Mr. Morgan. He weakly raised a hand, as if trying to reach for me. I immediately clasped it in mine. I'm worried, he said, his words labored. Worried about my Khloe. His eyes were red. If I don't make it, I'm entrusting her to you. I was about to refuse, but Khloe grabbed my arm. Dad, don't worry. Ethan and I will be very happy after we get married. She glanced at me as she spoke. Right, Ethan? I wanted to pull my hand away and explain, but Mr. Morgan was already smiling, relieved. Good. And you need to be a good girl, Khloe. Don't make Ethan mad. Ethan, she's just a spoiled little princess. You have to be patient with her. Don't worry, Dad. I'll be good to Ethan, Khloe said, her grip on my hand tightening. If I ever make him unhappy, you can scold me. I knew she was just putting on a show so her dad wouldn't worry, but her performance was a little too convincing. I felt an unexpected sting in my own eyes, not for Khloe, but for the raw, gentle paternal love coming from Mr. Morgan. If my own parents were around, they would love and protect me like this, never letting me get hurt. Khloe offered to walk me out. I refused, but she insisted. Don't get the wrong idea. My dad's watching. It would look bad if I didn't. I stared down at my phone, at the unanswered call to Claire, a sourness filling my chest. Ethan, what I said to my dad wasn't entirely a lie, she started. He really does think the world of you, so. Khloe, I said softly, cut her off. She stood there in the dark, looking as gentle as a painting. I have a girlfriend, I said. For now on, no matter what, please don't do anything that could be misunderstood. Her lips curled slightly. What did you get a girlfriend? Did you meet her at that bar? What was a blind date? I'm just saying you haven't dated many girls. It's easy to get taken for a ride. I held up a hand, stopping her. Neither. She's an old classmate from high school. We have history. Khloe's smile froze. After a long pause, her expression softened back into its usual gentleness. Are you serious about her? I am. Good. Make sure you invite me to the wedding. I looked at her, and for a second, I saw the girl from 7 years ago. Was she the same? Different? It didn't matter anymore. My ride's here. I'm leaving. You should go back inside. I waved and got into the Uber. Ethan. Khloe murmured my name, but I was already gone. Her voice vanished into the night. When I got to Claire's building, I sent her a text. Claire, I'm downstairs. Can you come out for a minute? No reply. The knot of anxiety in my stomach tightened. I didn't wait any longer and went straight up. The door was slightly ajar. Claire, I called out as I pushed it open. The heavy scent of alcohol hit me immediately. Claire was a mess. She was completely drunk, her makeup streaked from crying. I rushed over and pulled her in my arms. Why did you drink so much by yourself? She didn't speak, just stared at me with wide, unblinking eyes. Claire, are you okay? I gently wiped the tears from her face. Ethan, it's really you. She smiled and buried her face in my chest, holding on so tightly I could barely breathe. I thought, you were never coming back. Her words came out in broken pieces. She tilted her face up to look at me again. Kiss me, okay? Her eyes held the same shattered, heartbreaking sadness from before. I couldn't refuse her. I held her, trying to soothe her, kissing her again and again until she finally collapsed against me, gasping for breath. Ethan, she whispered my name in a haze of passion. I don't want to miss my chance again. Marry me, okay? Ethan, marry me. I froze. Something inside my chest was beating wildly, uncontrollably. And without thinking, I agreed. I completely forgot to ask her what she meant by miss my chance again. The next day, I took my birth certificate and went with Claire to City Hall to get her marriage license. That night, she naturally stayed at my place. She was like a little kid who'd never seen the world, holding the marriage certificate and looking at it over and over again. That happy, huh? So happy. She bounced on her feet and then threw herself into my arms. I held her and explained everything that had happened at the hospital, giving her a sincere apology. Claire wasn't an unreasonable person. She nodded. I know. You and her are good friends. It's normal to go see a friend's dad. I shouldn't have hung up on you. I'm sorry, she whispered. But when I heard her say your name, I just started overthinking things. I chased Khloe for years. Basically everyone from high school knew. They knew I was stubborn, that I got fixated on one thing. And Claire was an alumna. It made sense that she knew, or that she'd misunderstand. I gently pulled her around to face me, looking at her seriously. I am a very stubborn person. When I like someone, I'm all in. I don't give up easily. I held her gaze. But when I'm done with someone, I absolutely never look back. Do you understand? She nodded, then shook her head. So, do you like me now? I cupped her face and placed a soft kiss on her forehead. I like you. I like you so much. Claire ducked her head, blushing. I'd never seen her like this. Back in school, I'd only heard that she was aloof and kept to herself, an untouchable flower. Later, when she started her career, her photo was plastered across legal journals as the most famous young lawyer in the city. And now, this brilliant, unattainable woman was melting in my arms. Her eyes were shining, her expression soft and alluring. I felt myself drowning in her tenderness. The temperature in the room began to rise as we moved closer and closer. Ethan, Ethan, she whispered my name over and over, lost in a pleasure that was only ours. Are you scared? It was the first time for both of us. I was afraid of hurting her, and she was afraid of making me uncomfortable. It took a while to find our rhythm, but soon a wave of release washed over us. Want some water? I asked, looking at her flushed, sweaty face. I handed her a glass, but she was like a lazy kitten, not moving an inch from my arms. I had to feed it to her bit by bit. Just then my phone, which I'd tossed aside, started ringing. Claire's eyes slowly fluttered open. I stroked her hair. Ignore it. It's probably just a spam call this late. But the phone kept ringing relentlessly. Claire seemed to guess who it was. She reached over and grabbed the phone. The screen lit up with 3 words, Khloe Morgan. I'll turn it off. But Claire ignored me. Let it ring. Her voice was thick with jealousy, her cheeks puffed out. The ringing finally stopped. A A second later, a text notification popped up. Ethan, I'm downstairs. I froze, but Claire's reaction was completely unexpected. Hold me, she commanded. I scooped her up. Go to the window. I carried her over. She was wearing my button-down shirt, her arms wrapped possessively around mine. She bit my jaw, her voice tight with annoyance. Is she one of your girlfriends, too? We were too high up to actually see anyone on the street below. But the little kitten in my arms was so full of jealousy, it made me want to tease her. How did you know? The words were barely out of my mouth before Claire grabbed my neck and crushed her lips to mine. The kiss was deep, forceful. Claire. I couldn't help but whisper her name. The night was intoxicating, the air thick with intimacy. After that night, Khloe never contacted me again. I heard she had a new boyfriend, some rich kid from a good family. Khloe was apparently crazy about him, plastering him all over her social media. It was the first time she'd ever gone public with anyone. More importantly, rumor had it he was going to propose. The news was everywhere. A few of my friends couldn't resist telling me, Ethan, Khloe's supposed to get engaged today. Yeah? Well, she's at that age. Good for her, I said, talking on the phone while picking out a new suit and a gift. My parents were flying in tonight, and we'd arranged to have dinner with Claire's parents. The original plan was to tell our parents at the end of the year, but I wanted to give Claire that peace of mind sooner. My friend sounded surprised. Dude, you don't have to pretend you're okay. I chuckled. I'm not pretending, man. Save the sympathy for when I actually get dumped. He was silent for a moment. Khloe's been acting weird lately. I really think she regrets it. You can't see the forest for the trees. When it comes to feelings, who can ever say for sure? Me back then, Khloe right now. It was all just our own obsession. The proposal venue was lavish and over the top. Khloe and her friends were already there, just waiting for Prince Charming. When my friend arrived, he said hi to Khloe. Her eyes were cold. Did you call Ethan? He didn't deny it. Yeah, but don't worry, he's not coming to crash the party. Khloe's expression darkened even more. Who's worried about him crashing anything? My friend gave a bitter smile. Right. You're not worried he'll show up. Then he added, you're worried he won't. That one sentence seemed to shatter Khloe's entire facade. In a fit of rage, she kicked over a vase of flowers and swept a row of champagne flutes off a table, sending them crashing to the floor. The festive atmosphere instantly froze. Everyone stared at her, shocked and confused. Khloe didn't understand why she'd lost control. She just felt a mortifying mix of anxiety and frustration. But she had to admit, her friend was right. She wasn't afraid Ethan would come and ruin things. She was afraid he wouldn't come at all. That day at the hospital, when Ethan said he had a girlfriend, she hadn't believed him first. But she'd asked around, and none of their mutual friends knew anything. A growing sense of dread told her that this time was different. First, she told him to go out and meet other people, and he'd actually agreed. She had been so confident, so sure he never would. But now, everything had spiraled out of her control. Ethan had actually tried, and he actually had a girlfriend. The thought sent her mind into a tailspin, a sharp, unfamiliar pain twisting in her gut. Seeing her state, her friend tried to console her. Khloe, don't be upset. Ethan's probably just jealous. Yeah, he's just heartbroken that you're getting engaged. If you just talk to him, he'll come back. See, there's still a chance for you too. Besides, you always said he was the most stubborn guy you know. He won't leave you for good. Khloe, you like him too, don't you? You're only your true self when you're with him. He was about to say more when another friend burst in. You guys will not believe who just showed up. Khloe's head snapped up. She didn't realize how much hope was shining in her eyes. It's Ethan. Oh my God. He's holding a bouquet of flowers and wearing a full suit. He looks amazing. A smug smile returned to Khloe's lips. She first called a waiter over to clean up the mess she'd made, then said with a laugh, well, invite him in. This is the most important moment of my life. I need my friend of 7 years to be a witness. I tried, but he said he was just here for something else. Khloe scoffed. What a coincidence. She was getting engaged here today, and all their friends knew it. Of all the places in Chicago, he just happened to have business here? What a stubborn guy. He was obviously freaking out that the proposal was actually going to happen and couldn't stay away, but he still had to pretend otherwise. Half of Khloe's anger dissipated. These last few months, without Ethan constantly around, had been torture. That being the case, she was going to give him a big shock of her own. She'd hired a rich kid to stage a fake proposal. And when Ethan showed up, he'd be unable to stop himself from objecting, right? And even if he didn't, she'd tell him the truth. Then they could finally, officially, be together. Yes, they would be together. Just like she told her dad. She would marry him, and he would take care of her. In that moment, the gloom lifted, replaced by a giddy sense of anticipation. Khloe tossed her hair back haughtily. If he doesn't want to come in, fine. Ignore him. Then she smoothed down her dress. I'm going to go make a phone call. She didn't go outside to make a call. Instead, she scanned the area, searching. Soon, her footsteps slowed to a halt. Through the doors of a luxurious private dining room, a tall, handsome man in a dark suit stood with a bouquet of roses. He was holding his arms open, waiting for the beautiful woman walking toward him. He caught her in a hug, a look of pure contentment on his face. Khloe heard his voice, and a sense of panic seized her. "Claire, I'm actually a little nervous about meeting your parents." Then, the woman in his arms stood on her tiptoes and bit his jaw gently. "Don't be," she said softly. "We could just flash the marriage license. It's a little late for them to object now. What can they do?" "My feisty little kitten," the man said, laughing as he tapped her nose, his eyes filled with adoration. The two of them linked hands and walked into the dining room. Khloe stood frozen to the spot. She watched them, their casual intimacy, their easy laughter. An image from years ago flashed in her mind. That year, the school was selecting a student representative for an award. Her biggest competition was Claire Sutton from the class next door. She had sought Claire out, had a conversation with her. It took Khloe a long time to remember what she'd said. She had told Claire that Ethan was in love with her, and that they would be together sooner or later. She also said she knew Claire liked Ethan. After all, when the school bullies had gone after Claire out of jealousy for her grades and her beauty, it was Ethan who had stepped in to protect her, time and again. Khloe had wanted to beat Claire at everything, and that included Ethan. So, in the end, she delivered the final blow. If Ethan knew it was you who stayed with him in that closet all night, he'd definitely be grateful. But if you confess your feelings because of that, aren't you just taking advantage of his gratitude? "Claire," she'd said, "you wouldn't want Ethan to be with you just because he felt like he owed you, would you?" Claire had been silent for a long time before finally just nodding. "Understand." Watching Claire's lonely figure walk away, Khloe had felt a thrill of victory for the first time. No one knew how many times Khloe had been secretly jealous of Claire. So she stole Ethan, but only to hurt him again and again. Because she knew that the girl Ethan had first fallen for was the one who stayed with him in that storage closet all night. It wasn't her. It had never been Khloe Morgan. "Claire and I had a huge wedding. We invited tons of old classmates and teachers. But Khloe didn't come. A friend brought her gift and the money she'd contributed. With it came a beautifully wrapped box. After the wedding, Claire was happily unwrapping presents. "What's this?" I turned to look. In her hands was the necklace that Khloe was supposed to have thrown away. "Oh, it's from Khloe." Claire's expression didn't change. She just quietly stared at the necklace in her hand. I was afraid she'd be upset, so I pulled her into my arms and kissed her. Don't get the wrong idea. This was a pointless gesture on her part. I didn't even give her this necklace in the first place. "Then whose is it?" There was a flicker of hope in Claire's eyes. I said nonchalantly, "It was Khloe's own necklace. She just forgot." "Oh," Claire said, her head suddenly dropping. She sounded so sad. I didn't understand what was wrong, but I could feel the shift in her mood. I took the necklace and the box to put them aside. As I did, a small card fell out. "Ethan, do you know why I never wore this necklace? Because the person who stayed with you in that storage closet wasn't me. When you gave me the necklace, you said, 'Here, this is yours back.' I guessed then that it belonged to Claire. Ethan, I'm so sorry. Congratulations on your wedding." I was stunned. I looked over at Claire. Her eyes were brimming with tears. She whispered. I pulled her into a tight hug, and suddenly I understood the sadness and brokenness from that night. I understood why she'd gotten drunk for me. I understood what she meant when she said, "I don't want to miss my chance again." My own eyes started to burn. "You silly kitten," I murmured into her hair. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want you to be with me out of gratitude," she sobbed into my chest. "Because I knew, back then, you were hopelessly in love with Khloe Morgan." Claire cried, and I just held her, patting her back over and over. "In that case," I said softly, "the one I've always been in love with is you." She pulled back abruptly, her eyes wide. "What?" I cupped her face in my hands, my voice full of more certainty than I had ever felt in my life. "The one I've always been in love with is you. It was always you, Claire. You."